Senior partner Arthur Cole stormed out of the courtroom, his face a mask of fury, not looking back, the heavy doors swinging shut behind him. 10 minutes earlier, the courtroom had erupted in mocking laughter, aimed at the new intern, the one in the ill-fitting Navy suit, sitting silently at the defense table.
You are here to observe, not to speak. Don't get any ideas.
I know every precedent in this case better than he does. I've been reading these files since I was 16.
Lead attorney Paul Langston managed a tight smile but said nothing. He was too tired, too sick, and too afraid of Greg to defend her.
This is a real court, not a law school seminar. One word out of you and I'll have you out of here.
I've waited 7 years for a chance like this. I am not backing down now.
Across the room, opposing counsel Victoria Haynes watched the exchange with a thin smirk, already tasting victory.
Your Honor, may I request a brief recess? I think I am going to be sick.
Judge Morrison's gavel hovered in the air, but the day was already veering toward disaster, and no one in that courtroom knew the real reason the quiet intern wasn't afraid. Paul didn't wait for an answer. His knees buckled, and he clutched the podium, face gray as ash, a low moan escaping his lips.
Bailiff, call for emergency medical assistance. We are in recess for 15 minutes.
Your Honor, this is nothing but a stall tactic. The motion is time-sensitive, and opposing counsel has been stalling all week.
The health of counsel takes precedence. Recess, 15 minutes.
Greg Tillman stood frozen, a flush creeping up his neck. Then his eyes locked on the silent intern, cold calculation replacing shock.
When we come back, you are going out there. Stall. Ask for a continuance. Don't speak another word, understand?
He just handed me the opening I've been waiting for since my father's name was destroyed.
The recess ended. Greg shoved her forward, a human shield, and the gallery murmured as the small intern walked toward the attorney podium. Hannah set her legal pad on the lectern, her fingers steady on the cover page, the only sound the rustle of her own notes. From the back row, Arthur Cole watched the substitute with narrowed eyes, unaware that the girl in the borrowed suit held the key to a precedent his firm had missed. The moment the judge nodded, Hannah didn't ask for a continuance. She opened her folder, took a breath, and began dismantling the opposition piece by piece.
Your Honor, this motion is procedurally defective. The opposing side failed to serve the notice of filing within the statutory window.
Objection. This is a baseless delay tactic from a law student who doesn't even have bar credentials.
Overruled. Miss Merritt, you may proceed, but tread carefully.
Rule 4.2 of the State Civil Procedure Code requires personal service on all named parties. The proof of service in the record is undated.
She's an intern. Your Honor, this is outrageous. She's not authorized to argue any motion.
Mr. Tillman, control yourself, or you'll be held in contempt. She has the floor.
Hannah didn't flinch. She thumbed through her legal pad to a highlighted passage, her voice steady as she read a case citation from memory.
That's a 1992 appellate decision. No one outside a specialty firm remembers that case. How does she know it?
Either this intern is a savant or she's been preparing for this case longer than we have.
The judge leaned forward, a flicker of recognition in his eyes as he studied the case name she cited.
Miss Merritt, that's a 20-year-old appellate decision from the Eastern District. How exactly did you come across it?
My research, Your Honor. The procedural defect was evident in the initial filing, and the precedent is binding on this court. I can't say the truth. That I've known this case since the night my father was disbarred.
She just cited a case I've never even heard of. Who is this girl?
Your Honor, this is absurd. She's an unsupervised intern parroting something she memorized. Move to strike her entire argument.
Denied. I'll review the service issue. This court is in recess until tomorrow morning. Counsel, be prepared.
The gavel fell, and the courtroom buzzed as Hannah gathered her notes, Greg's glare burning into the back of her neck.
That girl just bought this case a day of life, and she knows things no intern should.
As the room emptied, Greg stormed toward Arthur, jabbing a finger, his voice a furious whisper that the rest of the gallery couldn't hear.
That intern ambushed us. She's not here to learn. She's a liability. I want her off this case by morning.
She just bought us time, Gregory. But I agree. Find out who she really is. Something about her doesn't add up.
In the corridor, Greg cornered Hannah before she could reach the exit, his voice low and dangerous.
You think you just scored a point? Tomorrow, you'll sit there and say nothing, or I'll make sure you never work in a courtroom again.
Are you threatening me, Mr. Tillman? That's a bold move for someone who didn't even know the filing rules. He has no idea I've been waiting for this. That case destroyed my father. I won't let them win the same way.
Greg's jaw tightened, but before he could respond, the paralegal Lena Russo appeared, nervously clutching a thick folder.
Miss Merritt, I found something else in the archives. It's about the service list from the original filing.
Lena just gave me the smoking gun. Greg humiliates her every day. She's risking her job to help me.
From the shadows, further down the hall, Arthur Cole watched the exchange, his eyes narrowing on the folder in Hannah's hands. Arthur Cole didn't wait for the intern to leave. He approached with the deliberate calm of a man who sensed he was being played.
Miss Merritt, that was an impressive performance. Now tell me, how does a first-week intern know a 20-year-old procedural loophole?
I read the entire case file, Mr. Cole. The filing dates were inconsistent. It wasn't hard to spot if you looked.
Lena shrank back, clutching her file, eyes darting between the two lawyers. She looked like prey.
Don't play games with me. You cited a case that no one in my firm has used in 15 years. Something isn't right about you.
He's getting too close. If he digs into my background, he'll find out I am Richard Merritt's daughter. I am thorough, Mr. Cole. Isn't that what you want in a litigator?
I want results. I also want loyalty. Step out of line again and your internship ends. Understood?
Arthur strode away, leaving Hannah with a cold knot in her stomach. She slipped into a small document room to open Lena's folder.
The service list includes a name I know, a name from my father's disbarment. This isn't just a procedural flaw, it's the same trap they used against him.
Hannah's hands trembled as she read the service list. The name was there. Evan Sorensen, the expert witness used to disbar her father 20 years ago.
This can't be coincidence. Same prosecutor, same witness service trick. Dad was destroyed for missing this exact violation.
She left the document room, her mind racing. Exposing the service defect in court might win the motion, but it could also expose her.
If I cite the rule alone, they'll fix the filing. I need to kill this motion for good. Dad's case left a trail. I have to find it.
She pulled a worn legal text from her shelf, her father's annotated state code, carried into every courtroom for 30 years. A faded newspaper clipping fell out, the headline cold, even after 2 decades. Procedural flaw ruins prominent lawyer.
Mom saved this for me. She said one day I'd need to understand how they built their victory on a lie.
A knock on her door made her freeze. No one ever visited her after dark. When she opened it, Lena stood there, shivering, holding another folder, looking like she hadn't slept.
Miss Merritt, Greg spent the last hour digging through your personnel file. He knows your mother's maiden name isn't Merritt.
My cover is cracking. If Greg connects Merritt to my father's disbarment, I'll be thrown out before I can win this motion.
I heard him on the phone with Mr. Cole. He said, you are hiding something big, and he'll have you out by noon tomorrow.
By noon tomorrow, the motion hearing will be over. He's trying to bully me into silence before then.
He left this on my desk. A summons to his office tonight. He wants you there, alone.
Hannah unfolded the note, her fingers steady. It was a single-typed line. Your internship ends now if you don't report to my office within the hour.
This is exactly what Dad faced. A closed-door threat before the hearing. I won't let history repeat itself.
I'll come with you. You shouldn't face him alone.
Number. He'll use you as leverage. Stay here, Lena. If he fires me, you need to stay safe.
She slid her father's annotated legal text and the yellowed clipping into her shoulder bag, then stepped into the cold night air. In his study, Arthur Cole stared at the name on the screen. Mother, Elaine Merritt. He whispered a single question to the empty room. The law firm was dark, except for a single lamp in Greg Tillman's corner office, where he waited like a predator.
If Greg fires me before I can file my motion, the case dies and my father's memory stays buried.
Right on time, Miss Merritt. Sit down. We're going to have a little talk about what you are really doing at this firm.
I was summoned. I am here. What do you want, Mr. Tillman?
What I want is simple. You resign by morning, or I'll report your unauthorized practice to the state bar.
I cited a procedural rule. Any litigant can do that. Threatening a frivolous bar complaint is itself actionable.
Before Greg could respond, the door opened. Arthur Cole stepped in, his face unreadable, a printed document in his hand.
A procedural rule, MS Merritt, or a personal vendetta. Your mother is Elaine Merritt, Richard Merritt's widow. I suggest you explain now.
He knows. But I am not giving him the whole truth. I'll give him just enough to keep him off balance.
The name hung in the room like a verdict, and for the first time Hannah's calm flickered, but only for a blink.
You want the truth, Mr. Cole? My father was Richard Merritt. But I am not here for a vendetta. I am here to win a case your firm is losing.
Admitting he was your father doesn't absolve you. If you are using this firm to settle old scores, you are done.
She's a walking conflict of interest. I told you, Arthur. She's a poison pill. Fire her now, or I walk.
If they fire me tonight, the motion dies. I have to give them a reason to keep me on. Just enough truth to make them afraid of the fallout. I studied the case because it's personal, but the procedural defect is real. And if you fire me, opposing counsel will fix it before morning.
You are saying you are the only one who can stop this motion? Prove it.
Hannah reached into her bag and placed her father's annotated code and the yellowed clipping on the desk. Arthur's phone buzzed. He read the message, and his face tightened. The judge's clerk had just scheduled an 8 a.m. hearing, bypassing the usual notice.
8 in the morning. We'll be ambushed again. This is her doing. She's been feeding the judge.
Hannah gathered her things, her expression unreadable. The room hung on the edge of a decision that would come down to a courtroom showdown. Dawn hadn't broken over the courthouse steps when Hannah walked through the metal detectors, her father's annotated code heavy in her bag, her mind on a single hearing. The courtroom was empty except for a bailiff and the faint scent of old wood. She sat at the defense table, the same spot where she'd been a joke the day before. A bailiff approached, stiff and formal, handing her a folded note. The judge requested her presence in chambers before the hearing.
Miss Merritt, I've been a judge for 20 years. I know when a young lawyer is carrying more than a case file. Is your father Richard Merritt?
The annotated code. He must have recognized my father's handwriting before I even spoke. How long has he known? Yes, Your Honor. He was. He died 5 years ago, still fighting to clear his name.
Richard taught me how to read a statute. He was the most rigorous legal mind I ever met. I see his influence in your arguments.
He's offering me a bridge, but if I take it, I risk revealing too much. If I refuse, I lose the only ally I have in this building.
Justice or revenge, that's the question that will shape this hearing. Your father believed in the law, even when it failed him. Which path are you on?
Justice, Your Honor. The same justice my father believed in. I only ask that you hold the law to its own standard, nothing more.
The heavy door of chambers closed behind her, and Hannah walked into a courtroom, now filling with faces that yesterday had laughed at her oversized suit.
The court is in session. We will hear the motion to compel. Miss Haynes, your opening.
Your Honor, this is a straightforward motion. The defendant has refused discovery for 3 months. The rules require compliance, not procedural games.
Hannah stood, her father's annotated code open on the table. She didn't raise her voice, but it cut through the room.
The motion is defective. The certificate of service lists Evan Sorensen as the agent of notice, but Mr. Sorensen is not a registered officer of the court. Under Rule 4.2a, service is void.
Miss Merritt, the name Evan Sorensen appears in the record of another case before this court some years ago. Are you aware of that?
He's forcing me to acknowledge the connection without exposing it. I have to answer without bleeding. I am aware of the name from public records, Your Honor. The rule doesn't require personal history. It requires proper service.
Objection. Counsel is drifting into the defendant's personal vendetta. Move to strike.
The judge's gavel stayed suspended. He didn't rule on the objection. He only looked at Hannah with an expression that said he knew exactly what she wasn't telling. Then the gavel came down hard, once. The judge's voice was flat, final.
This court recuses itself. The personal history I share with the late attorney, Richard Merritt, is too close to this matter. A new judge will be assigned.
Hannah's hand froze on the annotated code. The one judge who knew her father's integrity and the judicial trap that ruined him was walking away.
Recusal? This is a stall. She's manipulated the bench once already.
Mr. Tillman, another outburst, and you will be held in contempt. The reason is noted. Court stands in recess until reassignment.
He's not deserting me. He's forcing the next judge to see the prejudice. But if the new judge rules against me, I've lost everything.
In the back row, Arthur Cole rose slowly, his face unreadable. The girl was either a sacrificial lamb or a chess prodigy, and he still wasn't sure which.
The defendant's procedural game just backfired. By tomorrow, a new judge will dismiss this motion for good, and I'll make sure of it.
The paralegal Lena slipped through the side door, a new folder trembling in her grip. She motioned frantically toward Hannah.
Lena found something. Something so dangerous she broke protocol to bring it now. This could be the new evidence I need, or the final nail.
Lena pulled Hannah into the alcove behind the court clerk's desk and pressed the folder into her hands, nearly out of breath.
It's a list. Every motion, Evan Sorensen served in the last 15 years. 2 prior cases were dismissed for the same service defect. Your father's was one.
15 years of pattern evidence. This could overturn my father's disbarment, but if I submit it now, every lawyer in this room will scream conflict.
Before she could decide, Greg's heavy hand landed on the folder. He wrenched it from her, face purple, and waved it above his head.
Stolen firm documents. I knew you were a plant. This is theft, Merritt. Grounds for immediate dismissal and a bar complaint.
Those are public court records, Mr. Tillman. The paralegal compiled them from the public database. No theft, just diligence. Something you wouldn't recognize.
Arthur Cole materialized behind Greg, his voice like dry ice. He didn't look at the folder. He stared only at Hannah.
Give me the list, Miss Merritt. Surrender it now, and you walk away with a reference that says, "Good worker, keep it, and you are finished in this state."
My father took a deal like this once. It killed him. I came here for justice, not survival, even if it costs everything.
She held the folder tighter against her chest and looked Arthur in the eye. The choice was made, irreversible, and it hung in the silence. The silence shattered when Hannah spoke, her voice low but carrying through the alcove like a verdict.
I am not surrendering anything. I'll file this list with the court as a supplemental exhibit on my own authority.
Then your internship is over, and my firm will disavow every word you've spoken. You walk out of this courthouse with nothing.
And I'll have the bar complaint filed before you reach the clerk. You'll never practice law in this state, Merritt.
She turned and walked into the empty corridor, the folder pressed to her chest like a shield, every step a choice that could end her career. At the clerk's counter, she slid the list across, requesting it be entered as a supplemental exhibit for the incoming judge.
This is what my father would have done. I just bet my entire future on a motion that a hostile judge might dismiss in an hour.
A clerk handed her a slip. Judge Hendricks, a strict constructionist known for zero tolerance on procedural errors, would hear the motion in 60 minutes. She re-entered the courtroom alone, sitting at the same defense table, and opened her father's annotated code to the page he'd marked 2 decades ago. The door creaked. A new judge in a black robe walked to the bench, and the air tightened. This was the test, and there would be no safety net. The new judge, a lean man with a cold, methodical air, took the bench without a greeting and called the motion to order with a single tap of his gavel.
Your Honor, the defendant has submitted a last-minute exhibit compiled by a paralegal with a personal grudge. It's a transparent attempt to smear my case.
The exhibit is public record. It shows a pattern of defective service by the same agent. The rule applies regardless of who compiled it.
The judge leafed through the list, his face a stone mask. He asked a single question, his voice flat enough to chill the room.
Objection. This is a fishing expedition. The defendant is using a procedural complaint to relitigate a decades-old grievance.
The gavel fell again, sharp. The judge's voice carried no sympathy, only the cold edge of a man who detested court games.
He's allowing the evidence but warning me. One wrong word, one hint of personal crusade, and I am in contempt.
Then answer plainly, Miss Merritt. Are you Richard Merritt's daughter, and is that why you are so fixated on this one agent?
My personal history doesn't change the fact that service was defective. Rule 4.2a doesn't ask who objects, it asks whether the law was followed.
The judge didn't rule on the question. Instead, he banged the gavel and declared a 15-minute recess to review the supplemental exhibit, leaving the courtroom suspended in silence. During the silent recess, the courtroom emptied, except for Hannah, alone at the defense table, her father's annotated code open beneath trembling fingers.
One call to the Public Records Office, and they'd confirm the pattern goes back even further. But that call would also link my name to his.
Still here, Merritt. The judge is going to shred your little exhibit. You've wasted everyone's time and your career.
If the law is on my side, the exhibit will speak for itself. And if it's not, you should be the one worried.
Arthur Cole hadn't moved from the back row. He spoke quietly into his phone, eyes fixed on Hannah with an expression that looked almost like respect or final calculation.
Miss Merritt, I found the original service forms from your father's case. Same agent, same wording, filed the exact same way. It's a pattern.
This is the final proof. But if I submit it, I become my father's daughter on the record, and every ruling against me will be tainted by that. Then I'll submit it and let the law decide. I am not hiding anymore.
Your honor hasn't returned yet, and you are filing more garbage. This is beyond contempt. It's sabotage.
The side door opened. The judge reappeared, file in hand, and took the bench without a word. The recess was over, and the room braced for a ruling. The judge set the file down and fixed his gaze on Victoria. His voice, when it came, was final. The court finds the service of process defective under Rule 4.2a. The motion to compel is denied. The supplemental exhibit reveals a pattern of misconduct that this court will not ignore.
Your honor, this is a miscarriage of justice. The personal history of opposing counsel has poisoned this ruling. I demand a stay.
Request denied. The ruling stands on procedural grounds alone. This court is adjourned. Greg's face went purple. He spun toward Hannah, fingers shaking, years of arrogance collapsing into incoherent rage.
This is your fault. You manipulated everyone, a fraud and a liar just like your father.
The only fraud here was the defective service your firm overlooked. The record will reflect that, and my father's name with it.
In the back row, Arthur Cole rose. His face was no longer calculating. It was the face of a man who had backed the wrong horse for decades. Without a word, he pushed past Greg and strode toward the exit. The same heavy doors that had swung open on a joke now closing behind the senior partner's retreat. The courtroom erupted, but this time not in laughter, in gasps as the intern in the borrowed suit closed her father's annotated code, the name Merritt restored to the legal record. Greg stood frozen, his mouth open, the courtroom emptying around him. He grabbed his briefcase and pushed through the side door without a word.
You did it. You actually did it. Your father would be proud.
He would be, but this isn't over. Not until they acknowledge every person they stepped on.
A young associate approached, a crisp business card in hand, her face unreadable. Miss Merritt, Mr. Cole would like to see you in his office immediately. He's authorized me to offer you a position with the firm.
Tell Mr. Cole. I'll accept the position, but only after he and Mr. Tillman issue a formal apology to Lena Russo for the years of harassment she's endured.
She's risking her career for me. Nobody's ever done that.
The associate hesitated, then nodded and withdrew. Hannah turned to Lena, her expression softer than it had been all week.
You were the first person in that firm who helped me without asking for anything. An apology is the least they owe you.
In the empty courtroom, the borrowed suit finally looked like it fit, and the name Merritt wasn't just restored, it was a promise kept. The associate returned within the hour, her expression unreadable, and relayed a message. Mr. Cole would see Hannah in his office immediately.
Your condition is accepted. Mr. Tillman will apologize to Miss Russo, but I expect you to honor your word and accept the position.
Miss Russo, I apologize for my behavior. It was unprofessional and inexcusable.
5 years. I never thought I'd hear those words.
Then I accept. But the culture of this firm changes, starting now.
Arthur extended his hand across the desk, and Hannah took it, the agreement sealed without fanfare. Later, as Hannah walked with Lena through the quiet hallways, the paralegal finally found her voice.
I've worked here for 5 years, and no one ever stood up for me. Thank you.
You did the brave part first. I just made them see it.
That evening, Hannah sat in her small apartment, the annotated code open to the page her father had marked 2 decades before, and smiled. The next morning, Hannah carried a single personal item into her new office, her father's framed photograph. She set it on the corner of a clean desk, the city light catching the glass. Lena arrived with a thick file, no longer shrinking in doorways. A subtle confidence had replaced the fear in her eyes.
Your first assignment. Mr. Cole wants a memo on the Sorensen pattern for the Bar Association. I highlighted the key pages.
From being told to sit silent to being asked to expose the pattern, the fight was worth every risk.
A young courier knocked and handed Hannah a sealed envelope bearing the court's seal. The note inside read, in a familiar hand, "Hannah, your father once told me that justice delayed is not justice denied. You proved him right. Welcome to the bar, J.M."
Judge Morrison, he remembered. 2 sentences and the circle is finally closed.
She placed the note beside her father's photograph, her hand lingering on the glass for a quiet moment. Out in the hall, Lena's quiet laugh mingled with the murmur of a changed firm, a sound that hadn't been heard in years. And on the modest office door, the nameplate no longer looked like a borrowed suit. It looked like what it had always been. Merritt. A week later, the Bar Association opened an inquiry into the service practices that had ruined Richard Merritt. The name Evan Sorensen was officially flagged.
It won't bring Dad back, but it means the record finally reflects the truth.
She stood at her office window, watching the city lights blink on, the annotated code on her desk beside the judge's note. In the hallway, Lena passed by with a stack of files, no longer flinching at the sound of footsteps. The firm's culture was shifting, slowly, not because of policies, but because one intern had refused to look away. Arthur Cole, in his corner office, signed off on the memo, his pen heavy. He hadn't apologized, but he hadn't blocked the inquiry either.
They said lawyers laughed at the new intern. That was the last day they did.
She touched the frame of her father's photograph, then turned back to her desk, where a new motion waited. The nameplate on the door caught the last light of the day. Merritt, not borrowed, not silenced, restored. And somewhere, in the echo of a courtroom, 2 decades silent, a father's voice finally rested.